Today we have a truly remarkable guest, Dana Akilbekova. She is a scientist, particularly a biophysicist. She is also a biomedical engineer and professor at Nazarbayev University, and also a contributor and author of different projects such as podcast Belka and Strelka, also KZ PhD Girls Union, and other ones. So I'm really happy to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. I also think that it's important to know that she's definitely one of the ones, or one of the people that are bringing change to our country, that are making better the scientific development of Kazakhstan.
Oh, you're praising me too much. It's not like that.
But it's like real.
Yes, really. So,
So maybe you will introduce yourself also.
yes, I mean, you already talked everything. So, my name is Dana. I'm right now, I call myself aspiring professor at Nazarbayev University. So, I work in the field of biomedical engineering. I teach in this field in biomedical engineering. I have a huge group, like around 10 people. It's not that huge, but still 10 people working with me. So my research interest, we wanna create a bone in the lab, like a real human bone, and try to grow it in the lab. So this is what we are working on right now in the lab.
This is called tissue engineering.
Yes, tissue engineering. So tissue engineering is something like tissue is a is something, everything in your body consists of the tissues, right? The skin, bone, any other type of tissues, for example. So engineering is something that you create. So tissue engineering literally translates as creating the tissue. So this is what we're working on. So
maybe we'll talk more about like how did you come to that? How did you start pursuing career as a scientist?
It's very easy. My parents are scientists. I didn't have a choice. Yes, I think it's just my grandparents are physicists. My parents are physicists. My uncles, aunts. I was like surrounded by physicists. My grandmother, she was a teacher and the head of the school. So for me, it was like environmental. So becoming a scientist, it was like continuation of what I already been grown up. Like usually, like doctors, their kids become doctors. It's not because parents force them. It's because they already live in this environment and they also want to like contribute to the medicine. The same for me.
I think our country needs those kind of dynasties as a scientist.
Yes. So I actually started as a physicist. So because for me, I really like physics. I really like enjoying reading the books in physics about physics and studying physics. It's a lot of fun to study physics. But then when I went to the master's degree in physics, I hated it. Actually, studying physics is fun. Doing research in physics is so boring for me personally. So it's my subjective opinion. It was very boring for me because I wanted to see something. I wanted to touch. I wanted like
More practical.
No, like physics is quite practical. I just wanted to create something that is livable. I think I always wanted to work something with biology related. So I did my PhD already in the US in the field of biophysics.
Do you think it was the right decision firstly learn physics and then go to biology? Or
yeah, it doesn't matter. I think it's just because it's a coincidence that it happened this way. But I went to physics because physics was the best that I did during my high school. In high school, I was very good in physics and math. So I thought I should pursue that career. I really liked it. I think it was fun. But then with time, I a little bit switched my opinion of what I should be doing. Yes, yeah. So it's okay. You can become a biologist and then become physicist, or you can become chemist and then become biologist. In the reality, the nature, it doesn't have these divisions, right? Like there is no division in nature. Like this is biology, this is chemistry, this is physics, this is astrophysics. Nothing. It's we human created these divisions and categories. In reality, nature is just one big thing.
So they're all connected.
They're all connected. And I think like future science is more like interdisciplinary. So,
so you mentioned that physics was your strong side at high
yes,
school,
yes.
and you really liked it. It was really fun to study. So could you please more explain why it's so close to you and why it's fun to learn?
I think it's just like every person is different, right? So I had classmates who were very bad in math or physics, but they were so good in writing. Just like natural with talent. So and they really enjoyed that. And I think I had the same like I didn't have like a talent for physics, but I was very curious person. So I wasn't good in physics, okay? I wasn't like a genius in physics. But I just really like I was very curious about what's happening around me. So and physics was the best of the subjects that actually explained that. So it's interesting, like like the ball is falling to the ground. Like why it's happening this way? There's like so many forces, and there is actually mathematical and physical explanation for everything in this world, almost. And it's beautiful. I think it's very interesting to learn that how everything is, why it's happening. You don't have to be a genius in this subject, okay? Just enjoy it. If you enjoy it and you're good at it, that's good enough.
So genuine curiosity. Like,
yeah, curiosity. I think in general, one of the like best traits that scientists have is being curious. So you have to be curious. You have to be liking to explore something new. If you don't have it, probably science is not for you. yeah.
So you have started your career in physics, then switched to biology, integrated this, and then in USA you worked on the project of implementation of more innovative insulin injections. Yes. So could you tell more about it and how you became the best young scientist of class of
yeah, that was so.
in 2015?
Yes. So during my PhD, so this project was not created by me, right? It was created by my professor, by my supervisor, and so she gave me the project, so I have to implement her ideas. So the idea was for people who are sick with diabetes, who has diabetes, so it means they have problems with producing for diabetes 1, they have a problem with producing insulin. Why we need insulin? Insulin helps us to absorb glucose. Glucose is the energy for us. So imagine if someone cannot absorb glucose, they don't have energy. So their brain cannot function, they cannot function, they can die. So for people with diabetes type 1, they have to inject insulin every time, every day, a couple of times.
Not convenient.
It's very not convenient. There's like different methods. They sometimes attach this kind of pump into here. So for kids especially, because you get diabetes 1, usually it's something that you get sick. It's a genetic thing around like when you're young. So imagine for a kid having this, it's very like the quality of life could be quite low. So the idea was, can we? So there are different type of actually cells that are responsible for producing insulin. So they're like small beta cells. So the idea was, can we put these beta cells into your body? So again, so they will start producing insulin.
Generate themselves.
But the problem is, whatever you put in your body will start like get out. So whatever, even if you put implant, like teeth implant or something, the doctor asks you to take antibiotics because your body starts fighting it.
It's a stress.
Yeah, it's stress for the body if you implant something. Like even if it's a cell, they will start fighting it. Your immune system start destroying it. So it would whatever you put in your body, your immune system, if it's not good, like not protected well, it will destroy it. So our body is quite smart in this point. So the idea was, can we somehow protect these new cells? So she came up with the idea. So we put these cells into this kind of polymer particle. So, but this polymer particle has some pores inside. So these pores allows some different oxygen or nutrients come inside, but will not allow white blood cells to destroy it. So, so then you put this lot of these particles into your body, so and they will start producing the insulin for you. So you don't need the injections anymore.
So with this project, you then came to the concept of young scientists.
Yes, in Kazakhstan. Then I came back to Kazakhstan, and then I put my project there, and then I actually won the best young scientist. That was a lot of fun.
Did you expect it?
No. I think I like this young scientist contest. It wasn't about the real project. It was about, can you explain your project in a simple way, so people who doesn't work in this field or not scientists can understand it and make it entertaining. So as you are now doing, it's like you wanna like make everything more entertaining so people will understand it, which is good, right? So that was a part of this contest. So that's why I won. I gave a speech.
So you think your like winning the decision moment was in communication?
Yes, I think the communication is a key everywhere. And the way you communicate, how you communicate is important. Even in science, it's like so important.
What advices would you give to young aspiring scientists, like to develop their some set of skills? What would you?
Well, it's skill. You're correct. It's skill. If it's a skill, that it means it can be learned. So you can learn to communicate better, to get your like more your work that is very complicated in more simple form. So what helped me, I went to I think they're still here, Astana Toastmaster Club. So it's a club of oral speaking club. So I was very shy before I came there. It was 10 years ago. I was super shy. I was afraid of the audience. I was like always like hiding and like I was when I talked first when I talked I was like nervous and my English was not that good. So that was an English speaking club. So that helped me a lot. So I went to this club for 2 years. In 2 years I improved so much. Like I'm not afraid of the audience anymore. I try not to get nervous when I speak. So it helped. So it's just get out of your comfort zone and go to the speaking club and speak. That's the only way you can improve your speaking and communication skills. It's just like speak up.
So did the contest like influence your career a lot? What was then after the win?
I think it did. I think it did. It helped me to understand that. I think that's a time when I understand that the communication is important for science, and and something that I actually really enjoyed it. And so then after that, I was invited to TEDx Astana to give a speech. So I talked about the Kazakh scientists, young scientists, and from that I did
how to win a Nobel.
Yeah. So and that actually helped me then like explore more Instagram. I didn't have Instagram or Facebook during my PhD or master studies because I didn't have time for that. But after that, I started exploring Instagram. I started sharing my thoughts, have some blogs, so podcasts. So I actually started enjoying science communication. That was a lot of fun to do. So right now, I also do as you probably found me in Instagram. So I really still enjoy doing the blog, and I think it's interesting. Maybe for high schoolers or for people in Kazakhstan to see that they're scientists and they can be different. So because I think, especially in Kazakhstan, if you say Just close your eyes, imagine who is it. When I say scientist, who pops up in your mind? Usually it's like old guy or old, like something, someone old, but usually guy with the glasses. He's like very like a geek who is studying, working only. But in reality, scientists are very different. Yes, we do like makeup, we like enjoying our life, we like anime, we like this. We're very different. We're people, and still we're scientists. So I think that's a cool thing that we can share that. So it can inspire someone to become a scientist.
So I have listened to your speech on TEDx, and you said that there are so many misconceptions of how science looks like,
Yeah.
and I understood that it was kind of hard for you to become a scientist. It's a challenging way, and especially being a woman scientist in Kazakhstan is also not easy. And
Yeah.
could you tell more um, how you've encountered these challenges of maybe discrimination or injustice?
Yeah, I think in high school is not that obvious. So in Kazakhstan, there is no discrimination like in your face. Okay, or maybe there is sometimes, but most of the time there is no interface discrimination. It's more like systematic discrimination. So systematic it means even in the high school, uh, like if you want to go to the math or physics Olympiad, they usually pick the guys. So and the girls go to some kind of humanitarian Olympiads. So this is kind of shifts, and then maybe like in the school, teachers will say, "Oh, you will become a president" to the guy because he's smart, but for the girl, they never say that. So it's like it's okay. It shouldn't like it's not like real discrimination, but it imprints in your brain, and then when you go to the university, our professors in physics, they were like a little bit sexist. So they would think that we're stupid, girls are stupid, and guys are smarter. The way they do that is sometimes we just make sexist jokes. So they're like, oh, girls, you're going to the physics, you should get married soon. Or after that, because of all the nuclear whatever, you'll become bold or something. I don't know. There was like a lot of sexist jokes. And of course, there could be sometimes harassment. Usually, women are harassed by male professors, not otherwise, right? So I think this kind of misconception was like you have to. Sometimes you can ignore them, but sometimes it's like depends on your like mental state. It's very hard to go through that. So I think that's a and a lot of girls they don't go. In my situation, most of the girls they didn't continue career in science because it was like it's very male dominant. They don't want to have all these sexist jokes or harassment all the time. You know, it's not fun. You want to do something fun. That's why I actually decided not to do PhD or master in Kazakhstan because I couldn't take it anymore.
Why do you think you would say it was a better decision to take PhD in?
Oh yeah, I like US. It's my dream. It was just like randomly. I really wanted to live and visit or study in the US. It was like just irrationally, it was my dream because of the probably TV shows, all this influenced by this everything. So I really wanted to go to the US, and it's very irrational. It's not something like wow, it's a better sense. No.
So maybe you could tell more about your university life, college life.
Yeah, I think I can. I just maybe can compare. For example, in the US, there is no really. You cannot discriminate. You cannot do jokes about women because if any professor makes jokes about like sexy jokes in the US, you can file a complaint. So and this professor will be in trouble in the US. But in Kazakhstan, if harassment will happen and student will go and complain, especially in not like very old universities in Kazakhstan, the professor will be fined. The student will get in trouble. That's why a lot of these kind of cases are not reported. So I think that's a big difference that I noticed, that I was I was free of judgment. I was free of the stereotypes that I'm a woman. I was like, I'm just like everyone else, and I was not judged by how I look, that I'm a woman. That was very nice, and I think that's helped me to understand that there is no actually. But of course, the US also has their own problems with women, but it's a different thing. But they don't have like this kind of social pressure on you, like here in Kazakhstan, that you should get married, you should first think about the family, then career. They don't have it. So you do whatever everyone does. Man, woman, doesn't matter. I think that's a great thing about the US. It gives you this freedom and you don't feel this social pressure all the time. It's actually a lot of it's hard. It's fun sometimes, but it's very hard when everyone is pressuring you to do something like have kids, get married, you are too old, you're too ugly, you're too this, and you're like, I just want to be me. So I think that's why I encourage everyone to go and study or live a little bit outside of Kazakhstan to feel how it is. So to enjoy this freedom a little bit. So I like yes, and when I come back, it's I think everything becomes very different once you get married and start having kids. That's when you start feeling that how the system is completely unfair to mothers, how is absolutely impossible sometimes to balance the family and the work because like even at my university we don't have a place where you can like breastfeed, for example, the child, which is kind of weird. So not a lot of university has a kindergarten for mothers. Like they don't think about this, but it's important, right? And so you have to always choose either you have to do career or you have to have a kid. So once you leave for the maternity leave, you have a kid, you leave to maternity leave. That's it. You cannot do science for 7 years, and you kind of so it's a lot of like barriers, like for the woman to be as successful as a man. For example, men, he doesn't cook in Kazakhstan, right? They don't cook, they don't clean house, they just go to work, come back, that's it. Women, they usually have to think about, oh, I need to get my child to the kindergarten. Which kindergarten? I need to get my daughter to the university, to the high school, to this repetitors, all this stuff. Usually, mothers think about this. So it's a lot of mental load just for the woman. Plus, she needs to do the career. Plus, she has all this pressure, have more kids, and it's crazy. You know, it's actually very hard to do that. When I was young, I was like, it's nothing. But now I'm here. It's so hard. It's just sometimes it's like I just don't want to do anything. You just like give up on everything.
So what helped you to keep on track?
To get a very good partner. Okay, the important part, I think it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy. When you marry, don't marry just rashly to someone who you think you love, because love it disappears in a couple of years. Marry someone who you think is a good partner, who if sometimes family sometimes your husband compromise, sometimes your wife compromise. So if he is ready to compromise his career for your career, find this kind of man because that sometimes it will happen in your life that someone has to sacrifice their career. So it doesn't have to be a woman all the time. It has to be sometimes a man. And the woman. So this kind I found perfect. My partner is great. So he sacrificed for a couple of years his career, so I could do my work here. So there was a time when I sacrificed my career, so he went do his stuff. So it was we could find a balance. So I think finding a partner is so important actually in life. The one who will be always supporting you in your career and he will understand that your career is also important. It's not because you just want money, it's because I love science and I want to become a good scientist. So, and it's nice to have someone who can actually support it. Okay. Yes, so my advice: find a good partner who can support you is very important.
So you have continued your career as a scientist, and then you created KZ PhD Girls Union.
Yes,
Could you tell more about it?
yes, I think I wanted to really share this experience, what it's like to be a woman in Kazakhstan in science, that we're here, we're different. I think one of the main points we wanted to show that Kazakh scientists are not just men, Kazakh scientists are also girls. These girls are smart, they're badass, but also they're very different. You don't need to put stereotypes on us. We are beautiful, we're smart, we are like, we go clubbing, we do whatever everyone does. And I think that's just makes everyone to think we are also humans and everyone can become a scientist. I think that was the idea. So that's why there is no men PhD union, so we didn't do it for boys. Because boys is already quite privileged in our society, patriarchal society. I think we need to lift up women, give them more opportunity, give women to be seen more. So I think that's was idea for this project.
What kind of advice would you give to girls that want to be a scientist?
Ah, don't give up. Your life is, it's just don't give up. This is the thing you like in my life I wanted to give up. Every day I try to give up. No, it's just like sometimes it's becoming too hard. Like maybe sometimes to your parents are pressuring you into something that also pressuring you like, oh maybe I should quit science and do something different that will be easier for me. Don't give up on yourself. You are amazing. If you're doing great, continue doing great. Okay. I think that's just don't give up. Like all the hardship, it will pay off. I really like science is fun, and you can make a lot of money also. And it's actually just in Kazakhstan, we don't have a lot of scientists and we don't have industry that is paid very well. But if you go outside in the Europe or in the US, you can find very good paid jobs for scientists. So that's why it can pay off. Yeah.
What actually can be made to encourage more people to become scientists?
Mm. Nothing really. I think, well, from my side, I think we can just show that our scientists could be different. So, so it becomes like attractive. So everyone become bloggers or influencers because it's very attractive, right? You have like all these beautiful people. The same we can do with science, for example, to make it more attractive. So how to, yeah, it's just like yes, we get paid a lot of money, we have a lot of money. Um, uh, you meet a lot of smart, beautiful, handsome people all the time. Like I interact with highly intelligent people every day. It's such a blast. Like at Nazarbayev University, students are so smart. They're just like it's crazy, it blows your mind. And I speak, I really invited Anisha, like I speak with you guys, you're very smart. This professor is so nice that you're always surrounded by these smart, intelligent people. And you also think that's very attractive. So and you can travel. You can travel a lot to scientific conferences. You can be, once you're a scientist, you can become a scientist anywhere else. So you're not just physicist in Kazakhstan, you can go to Germany and you can be physicist there. Physics everywhere the same. So I think that's that you have this freedom. Science gives you a lot of freedom. So I think that's one of them. And you can speak very well English because that's a part of the job description. Because to be a good scientist, you need to speak very well English.
Are there any memories that you would like to highlight from your scientific career, despite the ones we listed?
Yeah. I know there was so much. I think I would probably the scary part. So first time when I was came to do my PhD in the US, So my professor was very young. She was like me, very young lady, was just only started her career as a professor. So so she hired three PhD students. So I was like her first, and she was so strict. She didn't know what to do because it was very new for her. So I was so nervous that I wanted to show that I'm okay, that I'll do best. Like I was so afraid because two of them were guys, and I was thought, oh, they're too smart. I have to like work harder, and I worked really hard. I worked like nights, at nights, like a lot. These guys, they were too relaxed, and in the end, she fired them, and I am the one who left. So, and it's not because they're stupid or I was smart, it's because I work harder. So I think that's the first lesson that I learned, that you can beat anything, smart talent, just by working hard. So I think that was like wow. Then so it was a very good motivation for me. I felt very sorry for the guys that were fired, but it was a good motivation to understand that I can achieve anything just by working really hard. At least in the US. In Kazakhstan, sometimes it's something different. But in general, if you work hard, you can achieve anything. You don't have to be super smart. You don't have to be genius. You don't have to like just work hard, show up, and you'll do great in any career, in anything. You'll succeed for sure.
Thank you so much for your valuable advices. I think they're full of wisdom for our audience, and
Yeah.
it will be really engaging for them, especially the ones who want to start their career in science. I think we're coming to an end, and the podcast is called Shabbat, and the end is also like asking what or who inspires you. So I'd like to ask you who inspires you, what inspires you, what keeps you uh, not to give up day by day.
I think it's absolutely. Before I met my husband, I was the only one who inspired myself. I was very proud of myself all the time. So right now, my husband inspires me. He is a scientist as well. He's very hardworking. He's like so smart. So I just someday I want to be as good as him. Uh, and I mean, what inspires me is I came very, even though I came from the physics family, we're not that rich. So what inspires me is to have a better quality of life. So I really want to live very well. I want to travel. I want to see a lot of things, and I think that keeps me like motivates me, right? Just to work. So, and of course, I really like science. Um, I just want someday to create something, to make something that will make sense. Like maybe not Nobel Prize, but some kind of impact that people will remember and take. It will be so useful for some kind of the health, for example, for another scientific advancement. I think that would be great.
Is it real for Kazakhstan to have Nobel Prize
Oh
too?
no, 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 not yet. Not even close.
Why do you think so?
Because we have not, like, our science is very only in the beginning of I think we had, during the Soviet Union, we get stuck. And only for the past 10, 20 years, we're starting the science. So we're just babies in science right now. Everyone in Kazakhstan, we're just babies in science. So we're still growing. Maybe we'll need like around 100 years, or maybe more, to actually being able to get the Nobel Prize.
Do you have some books to share that you love to read?
Um, I like Isaac Asimov, so I think I cannot recommend any of his books. That I just recommend all of his books. Okay, all of them are great, and they just like it just he has the best. I think he has the best of the he's because he's also scientist. So his physics that he explains in his books are the most correct. So the even it's just science fiction, he tried to be as correct to the physics, as close to the real physics as possible. So it's beautiful, and he also write a very nice novels. So anything from Isaac is actually fun.
Maybe movies. Do you watch movies?
Interstellar is like everything.
Wow.
I watch Interstellar at least once a year. It's like my. It's also because it's so close to the physics. It's just like it blows my mind how they came up with that. That I don't have to correct the physics or whatever they're doing all the time. I understand that everything is so perfectly connected. It's a wonderful
Yeah,
movie.
that movie is
Yeah,
awesome.
yes, it changes like I think it's I cannot get enough of it. I can watch it every time, and I'm like, wow, still great.
I also I forgot to let you talk about your podcast, like Belka and Strelka. Maybe you could share it with our audience so they could listen it too.
Yes, definitely go listen podcast Belka and Strelka. It was about science popularization. So I'm not doing anymore this podcast, but it's so my partner she's still doing that. So it's she mostly talk about the what is the scientific news. She's trying to talk about science myth. Or for example, during the COVID, we talked a lot about the COVID. So I think just if you're interested in science, but it's too hard right now for you, so you want it more in an easy way to understand. So you can start from the Belka Strelka, and it's in Russian, so you can listen to it and kind of.
Oh, why is it called like that?
Belka Strelka is the first two dogs that were sent to yes outside of the Earth. One of them died, one of them survived.
So I think that this episode was very interesting, and thank you very much for your for having a conversation. And as for the audience, I would highly recommend to listen to the podcast and also follow Dana in Instagram and subscribe to our channel, Shabu Podcast. So thank you so much to you, Dana, and thank you to our audience for listening to this episode. So goodbye, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much again.